Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today, as always, I bring you the review of this week's chapter of Fairy Tail 486 of its name, The Fourth Guest. And before I even begin, this was so far this year. Yes, we are 5 months in the year already, but I dare say that this chapter was one of the most unexpected chapters I have read of Fairy Tail this year, because everyone that had to appear appeared in this chapter. The board is setting up to a major battle coming on in the next chapters, and we follow, as always, the current trend of the chapter name having a number that goes on decreasing order. So this week is the fourth guest, next week will be the third seal, but we'll get to that in a second. The chapter begins right when the last one ended, with Gajil striking Bradman, is it? Yes, striking Bradman, but he manages to move from Gadgel's spikes rather easily. I wasn't aware, I wasn't able to figure out what the source of that phasing out was until he actually said what his body was made of. But at first I thought, well, maybe some kind of dust or rust. Maybe it would be fun to have him be like a rust mage. It would actually counterpart with Gajil very well, and it would set up a better scenario for the tag team battle that probably will happen between Gajil and Levy versus Bradman. Imagine having Bradman being a rust mage, the only thing able to hurt Gajil, and then having Levy helping him as well as she did in this chapter. But Gajil turns a few blows with Bradman, nothing major, just to show that he's a really badass. And now the scene cuts back to Aelin, where she orders her subordinates Juliet and Hain to actually go to the front lines as well, because apparently there's a third guest coming to the party. And, contrary to my belief, the first guests are Pegasus and are Blue Pegasus and Sabretooth. I actually thought that they would divide both, but since they arrived at the same time and they were the force dispatched to deal with the north side, it actually makes sense for them to be the first guests. Second guest we have Fairy Tail, and the third guests are none other than former members of the Oraxium Says, now members of Jelal's Guild, Crime Sorcier. And they're all here: Nightmare, Angel, the speedy guy, which I forgot his name, the other square guy, which I also forgot his name. I'm terrible at this. And we have Cobra in the corner, nauseated by the motion of the Walking Temple Olympia. So this makes up for the third guest. We have another cut to the battlefield where Yukino is like looking at the horizon and all that. I believe she somewhat sensed her sister's magic power, because if I'm not mistaken, you guys please correct me in the comments, Angel and Yukino are sisters. Angel is actually Yukino's older sister, if I'm not mistaken, again. And so Aelin continues to say that the fourth guest will be the most troublesome, because he's neither friend or foe. But even so, she will be the one to take care of him personally. And when I read this, I wasn't expecting him to be who he is. I wasn't expecting the fourth guest to be who it is. I was like, heck, if she's going to take care of him personally, it can't be the Winter Prince as I believed. So, because unless Aelin was thinking about betraying Zeref, which kinda it is ambiguous after the end of this chapter if she's really going to betray Zeref or not, but at this point in the chapter I really didn't thought that could be possible. And so I was getting on, okay, so if she says that she's going to take care of him personally, then it's gotta be someone powerful. I even thought about Gildarts, even though Gildarts hasn't appeared in like what, 80 chapters or something like that. I don't know. The last time he appeared was in that new chapter when he and Natsu met each other, when Natsu was going to train during the time skip, and then they ended up swapping bags. And you remember that chapter. It was a mute chapter, but it was a fun chapter. But ever since that, Gildarts hasn't shown a slight sign of life in Fairy Tail. So I was actually expecting and wanting this fourth guest to be Gildarts himself. But it's someone a tiny bit better than Gildarts, if such thing is possible. Once again the scene cuts back, this time to Giant Happy and Giant-Headed Natsu, who are on their way to meet August. We see that Brandish used her magic to enlarge Natsu's head and is very happy about it, as it seems, and she just keeps snuggling on Happy because she adores fluffy big things. And apparently that's not the only thing she loves, because yes, it wouldn't be a Fairy Tail chapter without our fan service moment. And yes, this time's fan service involves directly around Lucy's breasts, majorly shrinking and enlarging to massive proportions of such breasts. Was it a necessary scene? No, it wasn't. It wasn't really. It was just a way to mock the scene even more and to set up for what comes next, which is an immense magic power felt by all of them, and only Brandish is the only one who remains calm, because the others have never felt anything like that. Even what's his name? I forgot. The guy that was from the council, but was actually a member of Fairy Tail. I forgot his name. My God, this is an embarrassment. I will remember it, I hope. But he claims that he knew he was strong, but to that extent, and it is no one else than August, the king of all magic himself. They have finally met. What will result from that meeting? Will they even be able to start speaking with him? Will they get anywhere with such speaking? Will Natsu just, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna kick this guy's ass, and he jumps on it? We'll have to see, but I'm hoping for a very, very, very good scenario from this. However it goes, if the conversations go well, if all things go south and the fight breaks loose, August seems to be a very, very strong character, and whatever the outcome, it will be a great scenario. And now, finally, the time has come for the fourth guest to be revealed. While Aelin just goes on and talking about how she's going to end Zaref's little war game, but even if she didn't do anything, the battle would still go to Alvarez. And if she and August are really as powerful as they claim to be, then yes, there's no doubt that the battle would go to Alvarez's side. But due to an unwanted appearance, the game board has been broken. And that unwanted appearance is no one else than the bringer of despair, the Blackwinged Dragon, Acnologia himself. When I got to this page, when I got to the page where Acnologia appears, I went bananas because I was not expecting it. When I saw the picture, when I saw the name, I wanted to scream. I couldn't because I was in on my internship during lunch break. So, but if I was at home, I would have screamed. I would have ripped my shirt off, and I would walked around. I would have walked around the house naked, screaming my lungs off because Acnologia appeared again. Yes, Acnologia has appeared recently in the story. He defeated the strongest mage of um, of the Eastern continent, of Fiore's continent, and then he went a bit stealth for a while, but I was not expecting to see him here. What is his objective? Is he still going after the Dragon Slayers? Because that was his objective when he killed Serena, was to kill the Dragon Slayers. So as of now, and in a few moments, we will have four Dragon Slayers in the north: Gadgil, Cobra, Sting, and Rogue. So it could make very well be that Acnologia's goal is to kill the four Dragon Slayers that are in the north, and then move on to where Natsu is, and then to where Wendy is, because those will be the two Dragon Slayers left. Well, no, wait, no, wait. There are seven Dragon Slayers, right? It's Natsu, Gadgil, and Wendy. We then have and Laxus. Yes, of course, Laxus. Even though Laxus and Cobra are second generation Dragon Slayers, and Sting and Rogue are third generations. Yes, third. You get the pun. They are third generation Dragon Slayers. So, but they are all Dragon Slayers. And she says that the one who'll be laughing in the end after this confrontation, it seems, is herself, the Scarlet Angel. And that face, my God, is it both beautiful and terrifying? Is one of those faces when you see this lady's gonna this lady's gonna bring down the house, and she gonna bring it pretty hard. And the action takes back to Gadgil and Bradman's fight, where we start to understand a little bit about Bradman, and that his body is entirely made of magic barrier particles, which is very concerning because we saw how damaging magic barrier particles are when Laxus inhaled that huge amount back in the Tartarus arc. So I wonder if even if Gadgil's lungs are made of steel, he was apparently able to be injured by Bradman. So I wonder if this fight is going to go as smoothly as we thought it would. And then, as I said in the beginning of the video, Levy appears to give Gadgil some support, and she actually creates a mask with magic. She writes the word mask and puts it on, and it's very cool. Levy's magic, although not a very offensive magic, I gotta say, in my opinion, Levy's magic is not hugely offensive, but it's a very cool magic, and it has various utilities, and it's very, very good as a support magic. So, because magic is not all about offensive, you gotta think on the support side of things. Defense. Levy's magic is very good for defense, and it saved Gadgil's life and many other lives during the whole series. Back in the S-Class exam arc, she wrote the word iron, and a chunk of iron appeared, and Gadgil got his magic powers back. In Tartarus, after the kiss she gave Gadgil, she wrote the word air, and he inhaled the hair, and was able to keep going. Her magic is really, really useful. I would like to see her using it more, and now yes, to more offensive purposes. I would like to see how far she could take her magic to a more offensive route. because we see the support and slash defensive route a lot, but seeing the offensive route would also be cool. Maybe in this fight we'll get to see that. In fact, we've already seen it a little bit when she used this solid crypt shine, and Bradman calls it holy attribute magic. Now, I don't know if this was stated before or not, but is this a new magic that Levy knows, or was it always part of her magic? Because in the scene that this is happening, what I see from this is that Levy's magic was able to purify Bradman's magic, to extinguish Bradman's magic. Being Bradman the Grim Reaper himself, we can almost quote Levy as an angel here. And so her magic was able to purify the devil's work. Maybe that's why it's holy, or it's called holy attribute magic. Maybe there's another reason for that. Maybe it's another magic, because she hasn't used this before, this solid script shine. It appears to just be a flash of light, but a flash of light wouldn't purify or remove effects from other magics. So it might be that this spell, as a sort of an holy attribute, as Bradman says, that allows it to purify, if not all magics, at least some kinds of magic. Because if it could purify all magics, then it would be too overpowered for a character like Levy. Not saying that she's weak, but she's not the strongest out of all of them. And so there's gotta be a balance between magic and characters. And so the tag team begins, but before the chapter ends, we go to the western side of the battle, where Zarev keeps marching with his troops and is sensing the flow of magic within the land, and he asks himself, what the hell is Aelin planning to do? So he's worried. We see the little sweat drop running down his cheek. He's worried. He knows the extent of Aelin's power, and he's worried about what she might do. So that was it for this chapter. Next chapter we have a 25-page chapter with a special color page, and the chapter will be called, as I said, Chapter 487, The Third Seal. We continue with the trend of the decreasing numbers, and we'll get to see where this leads us. I actually saw something on a Brazilian fan page that put the hypothesis that this countdown is just a troll from Hiro Mishima, which is very, very plausible. I mean, he's known for being a little bit of a troll, but I'm not really sure that that's what's going to happen, because it wouldn't make very sense that he spent the last 7 chapters actually saying and giving attention to those titles and those numbers and having them set up and being all following up, and then just be for nothing. Maybe at the end of the countdown will mark the beginning of a very catastrophic event. It could be the countdown to Ragnarok, because we know that, I don't know if it's Acnologia or Zerev's objective, but one of them has the objective of creating the Ragnarok. Ragnarok, if you don't know, it's the end of the world as said by the Nord mythology. It's seen as the end, as the true end of the world, a tremendous battle between humans, gods, and everything. But in the end, ultimately, everything dies except the simple things like chaos, and only chaos remains. And then after that, a new world emerges, and the cycle begins anew. While I don't think that Ragnarok will find its way to fairy tale, or well, at least it won't have its end in fairy tale, because it wouldn't make much sense, I do believe that a sort of cataclysmic event, how can I say this, called Ragnarok, but not really Ragnarok, meaning that it is a cataclysmic event. It will have lots of consequences, but it won't mean the true end of the world. So that's how I want to say when I say it will be Ragnarok, but not really the Ragnarok, the end of all things as we know it, because it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, 400 and some chapters after, and the manga just ends like that with the end of the world. It wouldn't make sense, but then again, who knows? What can we expect from this guy? No one knows. But that's it for me for Fairy Tail this week. Coming right up, we have the 7 Deadly Sins, and after that, we have One Piece. Yes, I know I haven't said anything in the beginning of the video, but I'm recording these videos only on Friday, and you're gonna get them all right after one another. So I will see you right away in the 7 Deadly Sins video, which I'm not very excited about, but I gotta do it, so I will give my opinions on that in such a video, and I will see you then.